Arkansas Republican Senator Tom Cotton has followed through with his threat to put holds on President Biden's Justice Department nominees. Cotton wants the department to reverse its decision that he says denied legal aid to U.S. Marshals who were attacked by protesters in Portland in 2020. The Justice Department says it currently represents or has paid for representation for over 70 federal employees who've been sued in connection with those protests. It says it has denied legal representation to just one employee in all the cases. Touching tributes in New York City and Houston Tuesday for fallen officers killed in the line of duty. As America's crime crisis continues taking an outsized toll on law enforcement officials in 2022. To discuss why this is happening and what steps can be taken to end the trend, let's bring in the author of Beaten Black and Blue, former police officer Brandon Tatum, and Heritage Foundation senior legal fellow Cully Stimson. Great to have you both back with us tonight. I want to start by putting up the pictures of the two Bridgewater police officers. These were a safety officer and a police officer on campus there. These are the two latest victims gunned down. Brandon, how is law enforcement feeling tonight, and what are your thoughts as these two families are now devastated once again?
And I would argue that law enforcement officers are feeling heartbroken tonight, and the families of these officers are devastated. You know, when you lose someone you love and you lose a person who in many cases have great integrity and go out every day to serve their communities with all they have, it's very saddening. And it's saddening because a lot of these situations are preventable. I wish that the leaders of our country will produce a better rhetoric so that these officers can feel confident that they are supported and that the community can rally around them in cases like this. So I really am saddened to see so many officers lose their life so early in this year, and I really pray that it turns around.
I do too. We're trying to track down some breaking news potentially involving another officer tonight. As soon as we get details, we will bring those to folks. But the other part of this conversation we continue to hear is that officers can track people down. They can make arrests if prosecutors don't bring charges. If they expressly say they're not going to bring charges for certain crimes, it creates a catch-22 for these officers, putting their lives on the line, getting out there in the communities, and then not seeing these cases or charges come to fruition. Now, Cully, I know that you have been heading up a project that is tracking what some of the most progressive prosecutors, or some people would say non-prosecutors, are doing out there. I thought this was interesting. In Market Watch, there was an op-ed today that says people who are going after those progressive prosecutors are the ones making the wrong decision, saying tough on crime laws and mass incarceration waste tax dollars and don't make us any safer. They say churning people through jail and prison often leads to more crime. Opponents to reform are doubling down on a singular drumbeat, pegging sensible justice strategies as the cause of rising crime and promoting a finger-pointing narrative that is increasingly out of touch with reality. So, Cully, what are you finding here? Because they say your option of pointing out that the progressive prosecutors are part of the problem is wrong-headed.
Well, they're wrong, and we're right. Look, it's been the independent law and order prosecutors like me and others, Democrat or Republican, who for the last 20 years have created new things like drug courts, domestic violence courts, teen and peer courts, family justice centers. And that has resulted in crime rates, and especially violent crime rates, going down, and incarceration rates going down. The progressive prosecutors, or what I call the rogue prosecutor movement, is all pro-criminal and anti-victim. Nothing they do is for victims' rights. And so this defund the police and demoralize the police efforts on their part result in these rogue prosecutors who are funded by George Soros and his ilk, or cutouts from them, usurp the power of the legislative branch by refusing to prosecute entire categories of crime. They don't ask bail for anybody, no matter what crime you commit, and they ignore victims' rights, and lo and behold, surprise, surprise, crime rates go up in the cities where there are rogue prosecutors. But crime rates aren't going up around the entire country. Look at San Diego, Shannon. San Diego's the same size as Philadelphia. Under rogue prosecutor Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, 550 murders last year. San Diego, same size city, 50 murders.